This podcast is brought to you by BMW Group Canada. Hello, and welcome to the Industry Insider Podcast. I'm Sam Haupt, your reporter for this week. Registration is once again open for the Auto Body and Collision Damage Repairer Pre-Apprenticeship program at the Tropicana Employment Centre in Toronto, Ontario. With me on the call this week to talk about the ins and outs of the program are Steve Gallace, a Regional Sales Manager of 3M's Automotive Aftermarket Division. Hi, Steve.
Hello, thanks for having me.
We have Peter Wrong, an account rep also for 3M's Automotive Aftermarket Division. Hello, Peter.
Hello, and once again, thanks for having us.
Of course. We have Jean-Marc Julien, the National Program Manager for CARSTAR Canada. Hello, Jean-Marc.
Hello, glad to be here. Thank you.
Of course. And last but not least, we have Mark Trembley, the Resource Development Coordinator at Tropicana Community Services. Hello.
Hello, and thank you so much for having me today.
For sure. Mark, I'll throw it to you first. This pre-apprenticeship program has been running now for over a decade. How did it first come into fruition?
Well, that's an excellent question. When the program first initiated, it was done through a proposal through ACE Employment Services, which is now known as Tropicana Employment Services. We had done a market research to see what programs would be the most in demand for bringing youth into the trade, and the auto body industry was one that was really standing out to us. So our manager at the time had put the proposal in, and our application was successful. And the next thing you know, we were given about 4 or 5 months to start initiating a program. So once we started putting the program together, the first year was definitely going to be more challenging because it was who are we, what are we bringing to the table, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So we worked well with a lot of our partners, started building our partnerships up. And one of our first key partners that has been very valuable to our program has been Wayne James. Wayne is with AutoQuip Canada right now, and he served as an advisor, and he helped bring us together with partners with 3M and Key Color and CARSTAR and others. So there was a lot of bumps in the first couple of years, but then once the partnership started to build, and we started to surround ourselves with people in the industry, it really started to grow more and more.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now this program in its current state spans over the course of 30 weeks, from April to November. It's divided, as I understand it, into 3 portions. So what do the first 7 weeks of the pre-apprenticeship program entail before the 12 weeks of training?
Well, the first 7 weeks, basically what that is we get them ready for the college level. So we do an academic upgrade with our partners with TDSB. And they come in and they work on their literacy and math skills. Then there is the next part in that 7 weeks. We take them out to different shops. They do tours. They get to meet different members of the industry. Plus, we also bring some of our student alumni back where they get to see the steps that they've been taking. One of my personal favorite parts during the first 7 weeks, and I think 3M can agree with this, was that one day of the week when we had to get all the guys to shave their beards. And it was just, you just walk into this class and you have nothing but grumpy faces because their pride and their joy, their beards are there. And I know Peter always enjoyed this part. But you look at them and then you explain to them you have to have a clean shaven face to have your respirator fitting. So once they get the respirator fitting and they realize that they have their baby faces out and they see the importance of it, most of them never grow their beards back again. But it's that whole 6 weeks leading up to that. Another part that is really a huge highlight for us is that we get to see how the students interact with the industry and how their passion really starts to grow. One of the most important things that we look for when we're recruiting for our pre-apprenticeship program is they're not just coming in looking for a job. If they're saying that they're there looking for a job or their caseworker referred to them, then we know right off the bat there's not really a passion. We want to hear people that want a career. They want to build their lives around the industry. We want people that eat, sleep, dream about repairing cars. We want people that are artists that take pride when they see their finished product from where it started. And that's the part that we start to discover more and more during the 7 weeks, because we also have to start weeding out people that are not going to be serious about the program. So if they're not coming in 2-3 days a week, that's going to reflect on how they're going to do in the actual placement. So once they've done that part, and they're successful there, then they head to the college level. And once they successfully complete the college level, that's when all of our employer partners come in, and there's a career fair, and they all get a chance for their apprenticeships.
Now, once you find those passionate individuals, as you put it, what can those accepted applicants look forward to within the 12 weeks of technical training that the program offers?
The technical training that they get to see is with the 12 weeks of the college is they actually get to work in the classroom with a licensed professor. They get to do some hands-on work. They get to do their level 1 training, which counts towards their apprenticeship.
Mm-hmm.
And for them, that is huge, because getting that first level of training out of the way is one of the hardest parts, because first you got to find an employer that's willing to sponsor you. Then once you get an employer, you have to help that employer will also sponsor you to go to school. So here it's kind of a little reverse. They start the school, they get the basic trainings that they need, then they go into the employer more job ready, and then they're able to show their talents. And then after a year, they get their letter to go back for level 2 or level 3.
So let's talk about those student placements then, and I'll throw it over to Jean-Marc. I believe CARSTAR offers a few, if I'm not mistaken. So I just wanted to ask, how different could each student's placement be? Because I imagine there could be quite the range of positions that are open.
And that's the advantage of the program, and especially with us being involved in it throughout those initial weeks, is being able to meet and greet those students and see what their aptitudes are, what their interests are, and try to fit them into some of the shops. So some of them are regional, they want to stay a little close to home, so it's on the east end of the city. Some of them come from all over the GTA. So it's being able to place them, find what their passion is, because there's so many aspects of our industry that we look at, that they're interested in. So they may start wanting to do auto body and realize that paint is really their passion, or even detailing. We talked about a career. Detailing a vehicle alone is a career in itself. There's a good pay wage in there once you get good at being able to polish vehicles, paint, collision repair, whatever the facet is, right? Whatever the case is. But our focus throughout the school year while they're in there is being able to meet them, present to them, make sure that they understand what they're getting into if they do come aboard with CARSTAR, and what the facilities are looking for. And we're looking at that entry-level employee starting at the entry-level position and working their way up to their preferred goal, whether it be auto body, painting, even in the office aspect, writing estimates. A great career in that, and that's one of the biggest holes that we have in our industry, is estimating properly, writing proper estimates for the new technologies that are out there today. So.
Right on. All right. This is one that I want everyone's opinion on. I think we'll start with Steve. We have heard outcry throughout the Canadian collision repair sector demanding solutions to the ongoing labor shortages that we've been seeing. Do you believe an educational program of this nature is the best way to address this hurdle?
I think it's one way to address the hurdle. I think starting from the grassroots up and making sure that the students coming into the workforce, into shops like CARSTAR, that they're qualified, that they're trained properly, and that they understand what they can do in the industry and how they can move around, which we think is very important. We all know there's a labor shortage, and Mark kind of alluded to it as well. It's not just on the technician front, but it's also in the front office with the estimators, production managers, CSRs. It's not just fixing cars. There's also other paths that these students can take once they get there. Understanding how to fix the vehicle obviously is going to help them if they're on the estimating side. But there's a lot of different paths they can take. And this program, it's near and dear to our hearts. We've started this program with Mark from the ground up, and we believe in it because we've seen it, and we have now the testimonials and the track record from some of those students and how they've progressed within the different shops and different jobs and different markets. So I think it's just going to keep growing. I think this is imperative to what we need to do in the industry. And we need good, educated people. And when you bring the right people in from the industry to train them together, then they're getting the best of the best. And I think that's what's important. So that when they get to the shop, they're ready to work and help out. And that the shop doesn't have to train them from the ground up. So it's definitely helping.
Peter, how about you? Does this program effectively combat the industry labor shortages?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like Steve, stated, it's not the only thing, but it's definitely one of the biggest players going right now. I think our problem in the industry is just awareness. This program helps bring awareness to the possibilities of what Mark talked about earlier, about this is a career path, not just a job. So we just need more awareness in the industry that this is a very good career. And if you can get into this program and then work your way through this program, you can get yourself in a very good career that pays very well. And there's just not that awareness out there for people that know that. They don't know that they can make a very, very healthy living in this career path. And this program definitely gets us going down that right path of creating the awareness and getting the right people, as Mark alluded to earlier too, the passionate people that are going to take pride in their work, getting them to that point, and then further on and getting them into the CARSTARs of the world and so on and so forth. So it's definitely a help. We still need a little bit more, definitely. And the program as itself is, 20 kids. I remember when I first started, it was only 11 kids finished the program. But now over the last several years, it's been the full 20. So that's been a huge leap too, right? But to get this program even bigger and more broad across the province would be huge as well.
Mm-hmm. Jean-Marc, what are your thoughts from a CARSTAR perspective on how this program can tackle labor shortages?
I think the biggest advantage of programs like this being the only one really that's, again, in the 10 years we've been involved, we've seen the progression, we've seen the improvement, the passion of the students alone has increased so much. They're just, when they come out of that program, they're just so pumped to start a career. They're well educated throughout the process that it is a career, as Mark mentioned earlier. But the biggest challenge I find in our industry is recruiting that entry-level person and getting them in, sweeping the floor, cleaning cars. They never tend to get that proper training. The beginning of the conversation, we talked about safety and the fit of the mask and having a beard. You can't have a beard. You have to have a good seal on that mask. Those are the things that get lost when people come into our industry, and they get discouraged because they go home at the end of the day and they're not feeling well. They're breathing in chemicals. They're not trained properly. So when you can get somebody in that's already has that basic training of the safety, the tools, the equipment, the process, the welding, the structural repair, it's such a huge advantage that they know where to look in the shop. So they started, the entry-level position in the body shop, and they can look in the shop and watch the technician pulling a frame and say, that's my passion, that's my interest. Or the parts guy checking in parts, making sure the parts are correct. Or the estimator researching OEM procedures, making sure the repairs are proper. So they understand all that. So they can look to see where they want to go in their career path, whether it's in the booth, painting cars, or on the floor repairing them. So that's one of the biggest advantages of a program like this, is that they understand the evolution of our industry, they understand the evolution of their career, where they want to go and what they can accomplish.
Mm-hmm. Jean-Marc, as a sponsor, what would you say are CARSTAR's main contributions to the program?
Again, we're involved throughout the school year, throughout the program.
Mm-hmm.
We do field trips, we do in-class presentations on our industry, we try to get them engaged, and again, the advantage is meeting those students and fine-tuning their skills if there's an interest in a specific area, a specific shop. So being able to meet them throughout the year, and then when it comes time for them to graduate or go through the employment process, we really have a good idea of who we want, where they're going to fit in what facility.
Right on. Steve and Peter, I'll ask you the same thing from your perspective. How does the 3M contribute to this program?
Yeah, I can start off. It's pretty much across the whole program, Sam. From training the students on the 3M products and how they repair cars with them and the right way. The safety side of it, which is very big with our company, especially in collision repair, is making sure that the students are safe, that, for mask fitting, but also other things as well, that they understand that part of it, because it is important. We also partake in the, Peter does fit testing and training. We're with Centennial with the students, field trips, like Mark said, as well. We also do it as well with the graduations. We help get that set up as well with Suad and Mark to make sure that kind of it's a good flow there, giving out some of the awards. And there's a monetary part of it, but that's really secondary to all the other things that everybody does to make sure that this program kind of goes where it needs to go.
Excellent. All right, Mark, I want to ask you some of the nitty-gritty questions on the pre-apprenticeship program. Firstly, what are the requirements for those interested in applying to the program?
Well, I'm going to have to break out my rust because I haven't done this for a couple of years. But the requirements are, first and foremost, you have to be between the ages of 18 and 30.
Mm-hmm.
You need an Ontario high school diploma or equivalency, and you have to have a valid driver's license. Those are the three most important components because in order for you to actually go to the college component, you need to have that high school diploma. Now, if you don't have that high school diploma, there are other avenues that we can help you with. Like we are partnered with Essential Skills Toronto District School Board, and we can refer you to their program so that you can take that year to get that high school diploma and then come back and register with us. And a driver's license, as Mark would probably agree with me on this, is actually more important because for the shop perspective, just due to insurance issues. And the age, well, as much as we'd like to recruit people that are 14, I don't think we're going to be allowed to yet.
And do you know the total amount of applicants the program allows for?
It's a total of 20 students per year.
20 students per year. So what career opportunities in the collision repair industry can this program guide applicants towards?
That's an excellent question because when I first started in the program, I'll be the first to admit that I had blinders on, like, okay, we're going to get you into the industry. You're going to focus just working on the body of the car. But this is where the industry really took me under their wings and taught me a lot of things. Because then I started to learn about estimating. I learned more about painting. I learned more about parts management. And every one of these positions has such a vital part in the shop's day-to-day operations. And it really can lead to a very successful career. We've had students that have started as a bodyman, but have gone on to become successful painters, shop managers, Red Seal, and now they're actually teaching. One of my biggest thrills that I got to see in my final year with the program was at the career fair, we had 3 of our former students as hiring managers.
Wow.
And I just remember stepping back and looking at that, and it was like it came in full circle.
Yeah.
These are the guys that started at the beginning, and now they're here taking on the next generation. And that generation is going to remember this experience because then they're going to be motivated. And then in a few years' time, they're going to be the ones that are going to be in that position hiring. But there's just so many different opportunities. And that's the one thing I absolutely have always loved about the auto body industry is I've never met an industry that has been so giving and so dedicated to the development of the youth of not only our program, but other programs as well that want to work with cars.
Mark, where can people go to learn more about this program?
You can definitely look on Collision Repair Magazine. You'll see plenty of articles over the past of our success stories.
That's true.
You can go to our website, Tropicana Employment, and you'll find the application there. You can also look in a lot of shops or even just email the coordinator to get that contact information. Everywhere you look where it comes to dealing with automotive, there's a good chance you're going to see an opportunity to register. But definitely check out Tropicana Employment's website, and you'll get a lot more information there. And continue to follow on Collision Repair Magazine because there's always frequent articles there. And I just also wanted to say this program would not be as successful as it is today with not only just we have to start with the focus of the dedication of the youth that come into this program that want to turn their lives around, and they do. Not everybody is successful, but the ones that are serious, that do not want to take that step back in life, they are successful. And when you have the students that are as dedicated as they are, and then you have the employers, whether it is CARSTAR, whether it's Fix Auto, whether it's Assured, whether it's Independence, whether it's CSN, everyone has had their fingers on this program to help support the growth and development. And it's just when you see that support, and then you see support through our partners. 3M Canada has been with us since the very beginning, and any time that I've needed something from them, they have always gone above and beyond. We had a young man that needed a specialized respirator, and they went above and beyond and made sure that was taken care of for us. They come out every year. They listen to the grumblings about the respirator fittings, but they are appreciated at the end when the students understand that. You also have organizations like ICAR Canada, who has offered countless times consultation and help and support of the development of our program. And then you also have organizations such as CSN that sponsored us and others. Like, it's absolutely endless. And Lincoln Electric, who's been super valuable in helping us with our welding component. It's just, you can't help but get floored when you see the generosity that's out there, and you see that this industry really does invest into its youth and wants to see the growth so that they know the next generation is going to be there to support their business.
And if anyone listening, if anything Mark has described has stood out to you, the application deadline is March 31st for this year's classes. So make sure to get on that if that does sound like something you're interested in. All right, excellent. Mark, Steve, Peter, Jean-Marc, I want to thank you all for joining me today on the Industry Insider podcast.
My pleasure.
Thank you, our pleasure.
Can I also just mention, if anybody is also interested in supporting this program, definitely reach out to us, because we're always looking to try and continue to build this program up. And there's so much more out there that we want to do and that we can do, but we just need to continue to build that support for this.
And that's all we have for you this week. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Industry Insider podcast. My name's Sam Haupt, and have a nice day.